I'm just going to run through a tutorial now to teach the shoot dead trick. There are several stages to this, and some of the stages can be useful things in themselves. So it's useful to teach your dog to lie down. It's useful to teach your dog to lie flat on their side and stay there, because you can do that for grooming or massage. And then the shoot dead trick, of course, is good fun in itself. So let's start with getting a dog, Colin. Now, I like to teach a dog to lie down from a standing position, and I do it by using the treat on the end of his nose like this and pushing it down and diagonally backwards until he starts to bend at his elbows. So his elbows here at the top of his legs. Sorry mate, did I make you jump? Okay, could you just stand so the camera can see properly? So pushing that down and diagonally backwards and his elbows bend. If you find that he is just bending down to get the treat, obviously Colin knows this, then you are going too far down and not diagonally. If you find your dog is walking backwards, you are going obviously too steeply backwards and not diagonally. So you're aiming for a line from the paws down to the front feet. As soon as they figure out that bending the elbows gets the treat, they will start to bend them a little bit more and a little bit more. You might have to treat for the very tiniest bend to begin with. Eventually you will get to, come here now, you're getting too excited. You'll get to the point where the elbows are completely on the floor like this. And then when that happens, you just keep putting treats on the floor and maybe pushing it a little bit further back until the dog bottom collapses. Now, some dogs can keep their bottoms up in the air for quite a long time, but they will all eventually collapse. Once you've got a dog lying down, there are lots of ways you can go with this, but we're not doing a downstay here, so I'll stay on task. And no, we're going to try and teach the shoot dead trick. So the next bit is lie down. Once the dog knows to lie down, we need to start to get him into the settle. So I'm going to do that. Instead of putting the treat on the floor between his paws, so it's really easy for him to reach, I'm going to put it just to one side, if he'll let me. Did I drop one? You can probably see, I hope you can see, that by reaching over to get that treat, he's flopped over on one hip. So we're almost there. Get a bit chubby, mate, a few less treats. So what I'm going to do now is, instead of rewarding him or treating him on the floor, I'm not rewarding him, he's not really doing very much. I'm going to start to use that, move my hands gradually up his rib cage to start to encourage him to curl over a bit more. Yes, good boy. You will find that as they start to tip over, some dogs will panic and scramble back to their feet. Don't worry, just do it again. With some dogs, you'll need to do this on a soft surface. If you struggle to get on the floor, and you're happy with your dogs on the furniture, you may find it comfortable to do it on the sofa next to you. But basically you're rewarding round until, no, don't get too excited, don't get carried away, silly, until they go over on their shoulders like this. Now at this point you've got two choices. If you want to teach roll over, you just keep going and turning their head over until they roll over. You weren't in a very good position for that, were you, sweetheart? But we're going for the flat. So what I've got to do is, as I get, careful, you're caught up. Okay. As we get to that point, I need to steady, bring his nose over and down onto the floor and feed him there. Yeah, yes. Notice I'm trying to avoid him hooking his foot on my arm, which he wants to do, because I want him to stay there on his own without balancing himself on me. Good boy. Good. Now I'm going to start marking for a little bit of duration. Good. So that he stays there. His head isn't actually on the floor. Yes, good boy. Yes. Until I can get a little bit more. He can stay in that position for a little bit longer. And I'm also looking for any signs that he starts to relax. Down, flat, flat. Yes. 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 I would would also be looking for stillness because it's no good shooting a dog dead and having the tail still wagging. So if you've got a dog whose tail wags furiously while he's down there, you may have to build this up until that tail slows down and mark that, and then catch every little moment where it's actually still until he figures out he's supposed to be staying still, or she. Yes. Good. Right, the next thing to do is to introduce the new cue. Oh, hang on, I need some more treats. Can you place, please, Fred? Okay. So, in order to do this, at the moment, and this might take you several stages to get to. Trevor, go on your place, please. Colin. Obviously, Colin knows this, and he's getting a little bit excited and silly now. I don't want that down, it's not what I'm after. At the moment, your cue is probably a down cue, and then a round flat cue, and then a wait. Yes, good boy. So what we need is to add in the new cue. When we're adding in a new cue, we always do the new one, followed by the old one, and then the marker reward. Yes. And what happens then is that the new cue becomes a predictor for the dog that the next thing you're going to do, every time you say that particular word or make that gesture, the next thing you're going to do is something that he knows and understands, and he'll start to anticipate. So just hop up again. So what I'm going to do is add in my new cue. Now Colin knows this cue, so he may do it on the cue, but I'm going to go through the motions anyway, whether he does or not. So I'm going to say bang, and then I'm going to go down, and around, and over. Yes. Trevor, go and lie down, please. Good boy. And finish. And bang, down, over. Yes. Good boy. It might take you a lot more practice. Obviously, Colin knows this one. Finish. When you get to Trevor, go and lie down. When you get to the point where the dog does this really well, with you kneeling down beside them, so you can add in the extra cues, and you think the dog might know it, the way to test is to just give the cue, bang, and wait. Good. And give them time to think it through. If your dog hasn't actually figured out, oh goodness, it's something else she wants, she obviously wants something, what can I do, what can I do? And if they haven't figured that out within a good 10 seconds, and that means that's slow, 10 seconds, counting slowly, then help them out with the second part of the cue. But otherwise, keep still. Don't twitch, don't laugh, don't sigh, don't give them any little body cues or anything, because every time you move, you will redirect their attention back onto you and they'll stop the train of thought. So just keep still, quite relaxed and calm, and wait for him to figure it out. Bang. I'm waiting for the tail. Yes, good boy. Good boy. Cool. When you want to change it to the point where you're standing up, the context changes. You will have to make it easier. You will probably find you need to go back a couple of stages with you standing up. And again, if you want to do it while the dog is moving, don't expect it to be perfect, because you change the context, it becomes harder for the dog. And they need to have it. They need to be shown again what you want them to do. So if they're moving and you give the cue and nothing happens, move up to them. Just give them the old cue and just remind them, oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Have fun. Look forward to seeing some videos of it.